Alright, good morning everyone. Feels so weird to say good morning when it's 9 o'clock. Well, I mean, 9 o'clock where I am at least. And by the way, can everyone hear me okay? And also, let me know if I need to tune down the background music just a little. Alright, yes, so it looks like the sound is working, and also I fixed my chat box so the chat will actually stay on this time. It annoyed me for the past 2 streams, so yeah, I got that figured out at least. Okay, anyways, welcome everyone. Hold on, let me see if I can turn down the volume just a little bit. So I was hoping to use the audio drama soundtrack, but it's extremely short. It's about like 15 minutes or so, so I guess we will see how that goes. Okay, just turn that down a little bit because my voice tends to be on the quiet side, so I would turn the music down a little bit so it won't be like complete silence. Okay, so anyway, so welcome everyone. We ended at chapter 5 last night, so we'll go right into chapter 6. And for anyone that missed stream last night, we were at the point where Shinchao discovered that he was not a disciple of the um wow, I got the site names mixed up. Um mm, um oh yeah, on 换元 sect. I was gonna say the harmony sect for some reason. Like yeah, no, wrong one. So okay, so I guess without spending too much time, we are going to get right. We're going to get right. Sorry, chapter 6. Hold on, this is so zoomed in. Okay, okay. Like sometimes I can tell what the chapter is about from the chapter titles, but sometimes I don't. So all right, so three. All right, chapter 6. 3 donkey meat burgers. And by the way, when I hear the word burger, I always think of like meat being sandwiched between two like two buns, and that's usually what I think of burgers. So what was the original term? It was something like jabbing. Never mind. You know what? Yeah, jabbing burgers. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, this chapter will be fine. I don't remember chapter 6 because I read 48 chapters before, so I actually don't remember this part. But yeah, we get to meet a certain person in this chapter at least, and I hope my mouse doesn't all scroll again. Anyways, okay. More than 200 years had passed since the Jin people's migration to the south. After the uprising of the five barbarians, the territory distribution of the north gradually settled. The two countries, Qi and Zhou, occupied the eastern and western regions respectively. The emperor of Qi, Gao Wei, I think, was a rather absurd man whose negligence in regard to national affairs caused northern Qi to gradually decline in power, with refugees scattered around the country, while at the same time, northern Zhou became more prosperous day by day under the leadership of its emperor, Yuan increasing its stability and influence as well. Also, if you guys, if anyone knows how to pronounce like certain names that I'm doing incorrectly, just please let me know because I really want to get the pronunciations correctly. Like I've listened to the audio drama a couple times, but there are certain names where I always forget how to pronounce afterwards. So yeah. If you guys can correct me on that, please do. Are the VODs saved? Yes. They will be on Twitter. Why do I keep on calling Twitch Twitter? Anyways, the VODs are on Twitch for about 14 days for my account. So I will save my my old VODs and upload them to YouTube so they will last longer. So yeah, that's what I'm. Oh yeah, I need to do that today before I forget. Because next week my first video will be gone for my VODs because I don't know how to save them to a I don't know how to save them in Twitch yet. So yeah, they will be on YouTube too. And yeah, and good morning everyone that's joining. Uh, and we just started with the first paragraph, so you guys haven't missed too much. And oh my god, the chat box looks so much better now. The chat is actually staying on there and not disappearing on me. Okay, all right. The two countries, Qi and Zhou, occupied the. Hold on, I already read that. Oops, sorry. There was quite some distance from Funin district to the country of Zhou, with a lot of refugees along the way. If one were to set off on the road without being fully prepared, that would surely be the definition of the heavens and earth answer to no prayers. Northern Qi had been experiencing a severe drought in the past year. There wasn't much snow even during winter, extending the drought from the previous year to this year. Refugees could be seen everywhere along the road extending southwards from the East City all the way to the border of China. It was said that in some places, people even started to exchange children to eat. Ugh. After mulling it over in his mind, Shinchao felt that he would probably be the first to be captured and thrown into a pot if situation were to ever turn cannibalistic, due to his poor eyesight and lack of fighting ability. Yeah, no, I forgot how dark the novel can actually get. Um, since Funin district was located in the northern region and was relatively close to Yi City, there had been no severe disasters nearby, and the situation was comparatively stable despite the lack of rain throughout the past year. The district town was quite big. The temple fair was underway, making the town extremely lively with many people coming and going. And also a quick question about the temple fair. Is that similar to the fairs in anime? Because I know that in a lot of Asian countries, like they have very similar practices. So I'm just wondering if that like a similar type of like temple fair. Because oh gosh, because to be completely honest, I actually don't know about Chinese culture that much, despite my heritage. Well, I mean, um, besides it being my heritage, I actually don't know anything about the culture. Oh yeah, good morning. The two countries of Qi and Zhou were both located in the north, and I looked this up yesterday. And Xianbei or Bei. I forgot. Oh my gosh, I looked this up last night. I still can't remember how it's pronounced. Customs prevailed in their early years. Okay, you know what? This is going to annoy me, so let me look this up real quick. Okay, I know the first word, but let me do a quick check. Xianbei. I was actually right. Okay, for once I was actually right about something. So Xianbei, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Where am I? Are you serious? Oh, by the way, I love this soundtrack. I don't remember when I was using the audio drama, but I love this track. And Shanbei customs prevailed in their early years. After a long period of time, the customs were gradually synthesized, and as a result, their clothing and accessories incorporated Shanbei elements on top of the um, people's sophisticated style. The upper class nobility sought after elegant and exquisite attire. Thus, the clothes were often adorned with long ribbons on the side that would flutter in the wind and dangling pearls and jades that would rattle as one walked. And why is it playing? It was just track. Okay, anyways. Um, this kind of pursuit had also influenced the masses. Oh, no, don't auto scroll. Um, this kind of pursuit had also influenced the masses. So members of wealthy families would also wear long dresses that reached the ground. while some others would wear hats and flowing dresses that mimicked foreign designs. During the course of the temple fair, this variety of patterns in clothing painted the picture of a little capital in this district town of Funin district. And also, I don't remember if this was brought up in past chapters. So basically, Han is the most like prominent ethnic ethnic group in the country. So when people refer to the to the Han or Han people, that's what they usually refer to. And also, I just don't remember if it was ever brought up in previous chapters. And I really wish this OST were longer, or they released a full track, which I think they mentioned there were like 30 or so tracks used in the entire audio drama. So, can we please have more merchandise? Like, I want to spend money, but I don't have anything to spend on. Alright. The Duke Jian Temple, where the temple fair was held, was built at a later time in respect to no one else but the Duke Jianshan. I hope that's correct. The original Duke Jian Temple was in the southern part of the city. It was said to have been first built during the Han Dynasty. However, after the damages caused by warfare, it had completely fallen into disuse, left with nothing but a dilapidated shell, and even the statue of Duke Jiang was nowhere to be found. This empty, shabby temple then became a shelter for beggars and paupers. Recently, a new member had joined the group of people living here. A man named Chen Gong. Okay. Good old Chen Gong. And also, okay, I know I'm renting currently, but the first time, like when I watched the Donghua for the first time, I did not like his character at all, especially what he did in episode 4. But after hearing to the entire audio drama, I don't know, I kind of have a mixed feeling about his character. Like, he's not a great person exactly, but he's also kind of interesting. Like, he's like one of those more morally gray. Like, he's definitely more morally gray compared to other characters. I mean, I would say he's more morally gray compared to UI, who's also kind of a complicated character in a sense. In the daytime, he worked a temporary job at a rice shop in the city, loading and unloading rice sacks off carts and doing other manual labor of this sort. Since the wage was low, he was unwilling to spend all of it on rent, so he would return to his shabby temple at night, a life quite free and pleasant for him. The only thing was that there was 2 other beggars living in the temple, making it unsuitable as a long-term dwelling. He had to carry his money on him all the time and even watch his food, so that they would not be snatched away when he let his guard down. And also a question about his character design. Like, why did they put like money on his sash? Whatever that thing is. Like, why did they put like money coins out there? Let's see. What did the chat say? His development is very interesting. True. Is that Chengon or UI? I mean, I think both characters have very interesting character developments for sure. But definitely. I mean, Chengon is very realistic. I can definitely. Well, then again, I mean, Shen Qiao is also realistic too, in the sense that he's let's see what's the best way. I mean, he's pure, but he's not completely naive. So, I mean, to be honest, I think all the characters in this story are very realistic, and that's honestly why I'm so in love with everything about it. Hold on. Did I read this sentence? Well, I can read it again. When he returned that evening, he immediately noticed an extra person inside the shabby temple. A man in a grayish-white robe was sitting there. Changun subconsciously frowned at first. The space in the shabby temple was rather limited. With one more person here, it was like another part of his territory would be taken away. Then he noticed that the person had something wrapped in paper in his hands. He was eating from it slowly, one bite at a time, with his head lowered. A tasty smile wafted out from the paper wrap. It was the enticing smell of donkey meat burgers. He could tell with a mere sniff. When his father was still alive, Chingun had eaten them a couple of times. But after his father passed away, his stepmother joined forces with her own children and cast him out of the house. As for the few coppers he earned every day from carrying rice sacks, he already hated how cutting them in half could not double that value. How could he afford to eat something like this? Donkey meat. You know what? Speaking of this sentence, what does donkey meat smell like? I mean, if you can tell it's donkey just from the smell, what does donkey smell like? I mean, it would make more sense if it's like from the taste, because some meats that have a very distinct taste, like well, not lamb in America. American lamb tastes like beef, to be honest, and it also smells like beef, so you really can't tell. But goat, it, it's just a goat or lamb, but have a more like a gamey. Usually, like, real lamb have a gamey like taste to it. Probably like chicken. I think everything tastes like chicken, honestly. Um, at a second glance, Chengung saw another bulging paper wrap next to the person. This meant that there was still one more donkey meat burger. Chengung was not the only one who had noticed. The other two beggars appeared to as well. As one of them was already shouting, "Hey, have you even asked asked us about living here? This temple is too small for just so many people. Hurry up and get out." It would taste like a horse. Oh god, I don't even want to know what a horse tastes like. Okay. Chingu knew that they were picking a quarrel with him on purpose. Without saying anything, he walked straight to the spot where he usually slept and started to gather up the heap of straw, while his ears remained pricked and his gaze stayed fixated on the donkey meat burger out of the corner of his eyes. The gray-robed man said gently, "I have nowhere to go either. Seeing at this place, oh, this is Xing talking. I have nowhere to go either. Seeing as this place still had some space, I thought about coming in for a rest. If this brother could kindly do me a favor, I would be deeply grateful." This brother, God, I can never get used to them translating brother to hey dude in Jinhua. I mean, like that was like one of the first translations you see, and they call it hey dude. Oh gosh. Sorry, I got distracted by the translations. Um, oh yeah, Donna keeps on. Donna the artist actually keeps on bringing up Chief Pavilion. Was that a mistranslation? A mistranslation in the Donghua, or was that a mistranslation from machine translation because I mean, this seat, one of my favorites, definitely this seat. 本座 I mean 本座的座 is C, but yeah, I would never that would never get old. Um, the beggar said, if you want to take a rest here, that's fine too. Just give us everything you've got. Oh gosh, I really wish I could do voice acting because it's so it would just make everything so lively. Like because the beggars like I feel like they have a more of a like a rustic kind of like a harsh sounding voice. I really wish I could do voice acting, but I can't. Ugh! Why can't I be a voice actor? Alright. Chingon sneered disdainfully. I don't need your belongings. If you can pay me with food, I'd be willing to keep those two off your case. The beggar was enraged. Eldest Chen. Eldest Chen. What was the original? Oh gosh, I'm going to look it up later because I don't want to miss my place in reading again. We have done nothing to you. Why can't you just stay out of our way? Hey dude, yeah, I know, right? Chen-kun was rather young, being only 16. He was only 16? Why did they make him look so old though? I mean, it's not the first character that looked old, but yeah, he definitely didn't look 16. Being only 16, he did not have a very large stature, but his flexibility and endurance were outstanding, along with an almost cruel fortitude that was deeply rooted in the marrow of his bones. If not for these, he could not have gained the upper hand as a newcomer, seizing the largest territory within the temple. Oh, Da Chen, okay. Da, yeah, that would actually make sense. Uh, so what? Only you are allowed to talk and I'm not? Chen Gong replied lazily. Even though the two were just beggars, the truth was that all of the beggars in the city had banded together while keeping in touch with each other. As in a beggars gang. Counting on the fact that it was 2 against 1, they figured that it might not be necessary for them to cower before Chen Gong. The beggar did not bother with Chen Gong any further. Instead, he stood straight up and reached for the donkey meat burger by the gray-robed man. Cut the crap. Just give me everything. You want to stay here? Well, it's me, your grandpa. Lay, who gets to decide that. Gosh, really, peeing. I need tones. I need tones for it. But before his hand could reach the food, someone had already grabbed him by the wrist. The beggar exploded with rage. Eldest Chen, you're poking your nose into other people's business again. Is wanting to eat some food also getting under your feet? It's not which I started with the beggar's came on. Just like well, I kind of want to say in word of honor, the beggars the beggar skin, they're actually they are a kind of like a sect, sort of organization. So yeah, it's not a Wuxian without beggars without beggar skin. Chen Gong quickly picked up the donkey meat burger single-handedly. I want to eat too. How come you didn't ask me? Right after saying these words, he tore open the paper wrap and took a bite, then said triumphantly, "It's my leftover already. Do you still want it?" And he already took a bite, right? The beggar threw himself at Chen Gong, and the latter promptly tucked the paper wrap into his cloak. The two of them grappled with each other. The other beggar joined too, changing the two-person fight scene to a threesome. Ch- I'm sorry, I was thinking of different threesome. Chengun was neither more powerful nor any taller than the other two. But his secret to winning fights was that he fought at the cost of his life. In other words, very savagely. After trampling ruthlessly onto the stomach of one of the beggars, Chen Gong clapped his hands. Then, with his hands on his hips, he spit. I've had enough of you two, picking on me all the time just because you were here first. Don't think that I had never. Actually, this is actually kind of appropriate. Yeah, I think we should just try this appropriate for this food fight. Don't think that I never not noticed you secretly spit in my food before. You want more fights? Then come on. I have nothing to lose anyways. If worst comes to worst, the only thing I have to lose is my life. Bring on it if you dare. Watermelon. Wait, is that the watermelon emote? This recklessness was exactly what his opponent was terrified of. After hearing Changwon's words, he glanced at his companion who was still sprawled flat on the ground. Unable to get up, and immediately chickened out. Supporting his waist with his hands, he turned around and ran away at once. Seeing that his comrade had already escaped, the other beggar did not dare to continue the fight either. He covered his stomach with his hands and stood up with a stream of painful groans. Then lamely fleeing with some secrets such as, "You dumbass, just wait for me." Chingon took out the donkey meat burger that he hadn't finished eating from inside his clothes and took another bite. Then said in perfect contentment, "Not bad. Did did you buy this from a Lee shop in the southern city? The meat is indeed chewy, and it's still hot, and still hot as well. It almost burned my chest." For the sake of this bite of donkey meat, he felt that everything about that fight just now was totally worth it. Of course it is. I mean, who wouldn't say no to a donkey meat burger? Actually, I'm actually very tempted to know. I really want to know what a donkey meat burger tastes like. So yeah, I would say it's worth it. In any case, those two had been unpleasing to his eyes for a long time now. It would be great if he could have this place all to himself in the future just by seizing these opportunities that he happened to come across today. Seeing that the grey robed man was unresponsive, he asked again, "Hey, I was asking you a question. Are you dumb?" That's rude. The other person raised his head. "Since you fought them off, are you not afraid that they will come back they will come back for revenge?" By this time, Chingun had finally realized that there seemed to be some problem with the other person's eyes. There was a dull look within them, and as the man looked at him, it felt like his focus was somewhere else. After his gaze shifted to the bamboo stick next to the person, it suddenly became clear to him. So he was not dumb, but blind instead. You mean dumb as in he didn't run away kind of dumb, I guess? With the click of his tongue, he snorted. "Afraid? I've never been afraid of anything. Just, just look at them. What can they be capable of?" Chunko looked the gray-robed man up and down. He was wearing crude clothing, with nothing rare about the material nor the style. The only thing on him that was worthy of a glance was his face. Yep. Frankly speaking, instead of a homeless person like him, the person resembled a traveling scholar more. What's your name? You don't look like someone in dire straits. Why did you come here then? Even rats aren't willing to dig holes in this place. The gray-robed man nodded towards him with a smile. My name is Shinchao. I ran out of money due to my sickness and was thus forced to come seek shelter in this place for a few days. I will head back home once I save up enough money for the journey. Thank you a lot for driving away those people for me just now. Might I know how I should address you? Um, and has Shinchao been like doing his fortune telling thing all this time to make money? Cause when Yamcha drove him out, he wasn't allowed to carry anything besides his bamboo stick. So I was wondering if he was able to earn money from just fortune telling alone. And what a time! Oh. Um, okay. What Yushinian said was only a half truth. Therefore, he could not believe all of it. However, were it not for much Shendu, Shinchao would have nowhere else to turn to. Hence, after thinking over it a few times, he still decided to first head to Mount Shendu for a look. Mount Shendu was located at the border between northern Zhou and southern Chen. In order to get to it from here, there were two routes. One was heading all the way to the south and turning northeast after they entered the territory of southern Chen, which was a very roundabout way, while the other was to travel directly south, which was closer and more convenient as well. Shinjiao chose the latter. Although the world was in chaos, since Funan district had not experienced many disasters, it remained somewhat peaceful and affluent, a pure land that was hard to find in such a disordered world. Just like what Xinqiao had said, he had no choice but to first straighten himself up a bit in this place due to the fact that he was now penniless. I need a map? Yeah, me too. I definitely need a map. I have no idea where any of this is actually. um, I know they mentioned Chang'an, which I kind of know, but other than that, yeah, I have no idea where anything is. His eyesight was recovering rather slowly, but at least there was some progress. During the daytime, when there was adequate amount of light, he could see some vague outlines. In comparison to the pitch darkness back when he had just woken up, it was way better already. Um, okay. His eyesight. Um, oh yeah. So about his eyesight, this was a discussion in one of the Discord servers. So I think people were wondering if his eyes would ever recover, or if he was still in this process recovery but not fully recovered. So I guess we will see, but when we get to the end story, because when I heard the audio drama, I thought he was like completely blind. When he mentioned he was blind, I thought he couldn't see anything. So yeah, so in Denhua, I was surprised that it was just a blur. Like it wasn't pitch black blindness. It was just a blur kind of the same. So yeah, I was actually a little surprised about his eyesight. Chingun sat down. Whatever you like. My family name is Chen, and my given name is Gong. You can just call me out as Chen. I ate one of your donkey meat burgers just now, which can be considered your fee for staying here tonight. Since I also helped you drive those two away, including tomorrow's share, you'd better give me a total of 3 donkey meat burgers tomorrow. Shinchilla laughed. Sure. Seeing how quickly he agreed, Chengu felt a bit suspicious. Didn't you say that you were out of money already? Then where do you get the money to buy donkey meat burgers? Shinchao replied, I can always earn more. Chengu laughed at his words. You? I've heard that scholars can be accountants or write letters for others. But how can you write when you can't even see? Are you going to carry rice sacks like me? I'm telling you, 3 donkey meat burgers and not one short. Don't you think that you can cheat your way out of this? Feel free to go and ask around. You'll find that even though I, on the chin, am good at nothing else, even demons would be terrified of me when it comes to fighting. If you can't give me 3 burgers tomorrow, then just get out and eat the wind. Shinchao's temper was good. After hearing Chingun talking like this, not only was he not angry, he even agreed to it with a smile. The shabby temple was truly shabby, with drafts leaking in from all sides and not a single one of its windows were in good condition. But fortunately, there were plenty of pillars in addition to several altars that could be used to block the wind, and some stacks of hay and firewood that Chingun had carried and piled here himself. The former was used as a blanket to fend off the wind, and the latter was burned to warm himself. But all of these were for his personal usage. Now, considering Shinchao was willing to make offerings to him, Chingun reluctantly spared him some of his hay and firewood. Seeing that Shinchao was, to his surprise, fully prepared, even bringing with him in his personal bundle a thick piece of old clothing to use as a blanket, Chingun could not help but to hum, but to yeah, I don't know how to say it, but to hump, yeah, I would go with that. I'll go with that. The 2 beggars had not returned since, supposedly having found new places to stay already. Without a trace of politeness, Chingun brought the clothes that they had originally used as blankets over. He sniffed at them, but they gave off a sour stink, so he threw them away with pursed lips. Ugh, that's disgusting. They moved his body closer to the fire. At first, he wanted to snatch Shinchao's clothes as well, but after giving a second thought, he felt that it would not be too late if he waited to give him a hard time when the other person failed to bring him offerings tomorrow. Having this thought in his mind, he fell asleep unwittingly. Chingun was already awake early the next morning, planning to work at the rice shop as usual. He looked around, but Shinchao was already out of sight, leaving behind only the heap of straw with the indent left by his body weight and a pile of black ashes that was what remained of the burned wood. Chingun did not care about it much and went to the rice shop to work as usual. He absolutely did not believe that Shinchao could really bring back 3 burgers today, since if he was to have the extra money, there was no need for him to live in such a shabby temple that even ghosts were unwilling to visit. Moreover, Shinchao was not only weak but also blind. What could he do to make money? Don't you come back empty-handed, otherwise I'll beat you to the point where even your mom can't recognize you anymore. Chingun, do not beat anyone up. Chingun thought to himself while walking towards the shabby temple in the evening. Before he stepped through the gate, he smelled a familiar scent. It seemed like the sound of his footsteps had scattered Shinchao's attention. As the latter raised his head and gave him a smile. You're back. Donkey meat. With a grim face, Chingun was only able to let out 2 words before he stopped short. Because he saw 3 donkey meat burgers wrapped in paper piled neatly on the heap of straw where he slept. Oh, okay. Temple fur. 庙会. Yeah, 庙会. Okay, so it's pretty similar to the temple fairs in the animes, I guess. Okay, copper, yeah, copper, 铜钱. Oh, 全大, yeah. So I forgot who mentioned, yeah. So yeah, I think that 全大 is actually where out this chain is. Okay, all right, next chapter. Wait. Okay. Chapter 7. Do you want to be blind like me? Chingon. Okay. Excuse me. Chingon stood in a daze for quite some time before he could respond. Did you bring this back? Shinchon nodded. Didn't you ask me to bring back 3 donkey meat burgers? I mean, you're not completely wrong. I mean, the Dachshund is up. I mean, it's closer to what I was going to say anyway. So yeah, I mean, you're not wrong at all. Ah, auto scroll. Chingon noticed that the clothes the other person had been wearing was now replaced by a brand new blue robe. The gray one he had originally worn was now spread underneath at the bedding. The man remained clean and neat, the same way as before. He might have taken a bath and tidied himself up somewhere. He took a bath. So it's kind of interesting that he's wearing a blue robe in the novel, but I don't think they really like portrayed that at all in the whole. I think he was just wearing like first of all he was wearing a see-through down robe in the first place. Like, why is it see-through? But yeah, I think the audio drama in the audio drama it was more green. I want to say, well, yeah, to me it felt like it was more of a green color than blue. And I need to find a longer soundtrack, so let me restart everything again. Because I want background music. Okay, there we go. Where did you get the money? Chen Gong asked suspiciously. Shinqiu laughed. Through moral means, of course. Just take a look at my condition. Do you think I'd be able to steal or rob? Chen Gong grunted. Who knows? Nevertheless, he still picked up a burger. It felt warm and soft as he touched it. Obviously fresh out of the oven. He opened the paper wrap and ready took a bite. The burger was baked to a golden crisp. The gravy inside dripped out as the bun was bitten into, diffusing the surroundings with a mouth-watering aroma. Chingo's craving was so greatly aroused that he ate two of them in one breath. As for the remaining one, he didn't want to finish so soon and after a moment of thinking, decided to save it for breakfast tomorrow so that he could eat it right before going to work. He turned his head to look at Xinqiao. The latter was still sitting there cross-legged, holding the bamboo stick in his hands. His eyes were lightly closed. Chingun was not sure whether he was just resting with his eyes shut or actually thinking about something. Hey, where are you from? Xinqiao shook his head. I don't know. I tumbled during the trip and injured my head. There are lots of things that I can't remember. If you don't want to talk about it, then don't. Why bother coming up with excuses? You think it's that easy to trick me? Hardly acknowledging it as an answer, Chengun lost interest in the conversation and laid straight down. However, perhaps it was because he had eaten too much. Chengun tossed and turned, but just could not fall asleep. He failed to hold back from opening his mouth again. Hey, seriously, where have you been during the day? How did you manage to make money? A soft voice came from the other side. Fortune telling by bones. Chingon set up upwards. Wait, hold on. Chingon set up towards him with a thumb. You know how to tell fortunes by bones? Shinchou was still sitting there with his legs crossed as he laughed. I wouldn't call it tell, really. Whether a person is rich or poor, there are always some clues on one hand. It's just a small trick to get by. Chengun became interested. Then why don't you take a look at mine and see whether I'll be rich in the future? Xinjiang replied, Let me touch your hands. Chengun gave him his hands and Xinjiang ran his fingers through them for a moment. You are used to carrying heavy objects, so you should have a temporary job in either rice shops or on the pier, right? What else? Chingon was not. Oh gosh, can't say the word stupid for some reason. Okay, there we go. He knew that there were thick calluses on his hands, and the other person must have made an assumption based on that. You are stubborn with an unyielding disposition that won't easily admit defeat. Yet you are also somewhat skeptical. You must have fallen out with a family at a young age. It is likely that you have a stepmother or a stepfather back at home. Chingon's eyes widened in spite of himself. Anything more? Shinchao smiled. In troubled times like now, there are indeed many opportunities. With your temper, if you join the army, you might be able to achieve great accomplishments in the future. Chigon asked, How do you figure out all of this? Xinqiang explained, You have a local accent, therefore it's impossible that you're a refugee who fled here from other places because of the famine. Local residents usually have houses, unless something happened to your family. Considering your temperament, it's more likely that it's more likely it's this situation that I've just said, that you fell out with your family. But even if you have fallen out with your family, if your biological father or mother is still around, it's unlikely that they will just sit by and watch you stranded outside in wind and rain. Therefore, it should be the case that either your father married a harsh stepmother or both your parents have. Oh shoot. Uh, or both your parents have passed away when you were young. Shen was finally somewhat convinced after hearing Shin Qiao patiently account for his reasons one by one. He asked again, Then how do you know that I can make something of myself by serving in the army? Shin Qiao said, You don't want to be bullied by your stepmom, so you left home out of resentment and would rather live here. Also, you fought with the beggars for a donkey meat burger last night. It's clear that you are someone who's ruthless to others as well as to yourself. With a temper like this, you should be able to adapt well to the military environment. Shingun um ha, ha, harumphed. So you simply look down on people like me after all, don't you? Someone like me who can't even feel their own. My God, this morning I have trouble saying all the S words. Like why? Someone like me who can't even feel their own stomach yet still plan to rob you. Talking in such a runabout way only to make fun of me. Xingqiao laughed. Having experienced misfortunes like this myself, how could I make fun of other people? Did you ask me about fortune telling by bones just now? I'm just using you as an example to explain. It's quite accurate, isn't it? Even though you can't make a lot of money with it, at least it's enough for a meal. Chingu said, since you make it sound all pretty like you know about everything, then are you still so down and out? Did you get robbed by bandits somewhere on the way? Xinqiang replied, I guess you could say that. Since I can't remember it myself, sometimes my brain works just fine, while other times not so well. Many things appear to me only as vague memories. Um, f- fortune, well, hold on. Fortunately, you let me stay here. Otherwise, I really don't know where to spend these nights. In fact, I still have to thank you very much for it. After such flattery, Chingu felt much better that even the 3 donkey meat burgers that he received seemed like a matter of course to him, as if he had really defended Shinchou. Well then, 3 burgers for tomorrow still. Don't you think that you can get away with it just by chatting with me for so long? Yeah, Chingu would never let him off the hook for not giving him donkey meat burgers. Alright. When Chingu returned to the shabby temple the next evening, there were 3 donkey meat burgers in the same place as before. On the other side, Xinqiao also had one in his hand. He was eating it in such a composed manner that it seemed like he was eating some kind of exotic delicacy rather than a donkey meat burger. What what an affectation! It was hard for Chingun, who was in his rebellious years, to not make a huff in his mind as he turned his head to open the paper wrap, then took a bite ferociously. The next evening, when Chengung came back, there were again 3 burgers just as before. Even though Shinchao answered every question Chengung asked and was extremely good-tempered, Chengung simply found that they did not belong together, and their conversations were disagreeable to him as well. What the other person said was unintelligible to him, while his ferocity and bullying were ineffective on Shinchao, like punching a pound of cotton. Even though he was the one showing off his power, in the end, the silent one was also himself. Oh, good old Shinchao. His intuition told him that Shinchao was not a simple man, not only because of his clothes, which remained clean and neat all the time, nor his gentle and frail appearance that resembled much of a scholar. It was a gut feeling that was hard to explain or to understand. Even though both, even though both of them had to live under the shelter of the shabby temple, Somehow he just felt like he was inferior in front of the other. Chingon did not like his feeling. Therefore, he did not like Shinchao either. This place was extremely cold at night, with winds passing through all sides of it. Apart from the two living men, rats would probably be the largest population here. His shoes were worn out, and something might have bitten his toe. Ugh. Shingon cried out and ouch, but unwilling to get up just to vent his anger on a rat. He simply curled up more tightly. Do rats actually bite you then? Like I don't ever want to find out, but do rats bite? Oh my gosh, my voice is cracking again. Besides the whistling wind, there seemed to be sound of footsteps coming from outside. But on a hellish windy night like this, who would come to such a shabby place? Chingun was about to doze off when he suddenly heard Shincha's voice. Someone is coming. Right as he opened his eyes, he saw a few figures slipping in sneakily with clubs and staffs in their hands. The two leading ones looked awfully familiar. He scrutinized them again. They were clearly the two beggars that he fought off the other day. Ooh. Where am I again? Okay, there it is. I really don't like how my mouse all those scrolls. Okay. A shiver ran through Chenko a shiver ran through Chenko and it instantly woke him up completely. He quickly got up on his feet. What do you want? One of them laughed. Eldest Chen, Eldest Chen, weren't you acting out haughty that day that you even threw us out? We've caught the biker sect bros in the city today. Let's see if you still dare act arrogant. Wait, so they actually are called the biker sect? Okay, so this is pretty much War of Honor all over again. Okay, Tringle spit on the ground. What biker sect? A bunch of bikers hang out together and you are shameful enough to call it the biker sect? And honestly, I think this is one of the few times I actually prefer them to be called bikers gang instead, because I think like a gang fits this group better. The other person shouted angrily. Still talking shit even at death's door, huh? Don't beg for forgiveness later. Bros, this sprite was the one that took our territory. Oh, there's also a newcomer on the side. He has money on him. Let's take them down together. Collect their stuff and get everyone some drinks with it. Even at a glance, Chingon was obviously penniless. If he had money on him, at most it was probably just enough for a few bones. However, the other person was different. With how clean and neat his clothes looked, those clothes alone, after they rip it off him, would probably sell for at least a few dozen coppers. 5 or 6 figures pounced on Chengon all at the same time. While Chengon did have brutal powers and a ruthless fortitude, he was still just a teenage boy, less than 20, who would not even be considered bulky. The other party was much more powerful with the number of people they had, and he was knocked down after only a few exchanges, receiving heavy blows on both his face and body. Even though they had no intention to take his life, they still beat him with all their might that even the corner of Chingo's mouth started to bleed. He had no other choice but to try to protect the vulnerable parts of his body as much as he could from their attacks. So he got actually he actually got attacked pretty brutally because I actually I mean you can't really tell from the audio drama because there's no visual, but yeah, so he was actually attacked to the point where he actually started to bleed, you know. The bankers savagely searched all of Chingu and found only 20 on win win in the end. One of them spit and then complained, "What bad luck! He's such a pauper." I'll just lay. Did you say he had at least 50 win on him? I'll just AI. Lay? I'm saying it as a lay, but I'm sure that's not the correct pronunciation at all. Addislet smiled apologetically. Oh, wow. Maybe he's spent it all. Look, isn't another one? Isn't another one right there? The group all cast their eyes toward Shinchel and found him still sitting there quietly, holding a bamboo stick in his arms. He did not move at all, as if he was frozen from fright. One person asked suspiciously, "How come it seems to me there's something wrong with his eyes? Is he blind?" Relying on the number of people he had, Aldous shouted at Shinchel, "Hey, give me your money, and we your grandpas shall spare you from a beating. You hear me?" Shinchel shook his head. "I earned all of my money through hard work. I can't give it to you." Aldous sneered. You you hole? Okay, oh my gosh, that sounds really weird. You got some bones. That's fine. You can keep it then. You wouldn't even give us a donkey meat burger 2 days ago. Today, your grandpas will make you bleed money. They pounced up pushing Chow together, the same way as they did to Chengong. They weren't taking this weak-looking scholar seriously at all. Aldous Lay was the fastest. He punched directly at Shincha's face, while trying to grab the edge of his opponent's robe with the other hand. According to his According to his posture, the first should have arrived first, followed up by his opponent toppling backwards onto the ground, so that he could throw himself on top of the other person and sit on him. A searing pain suddenly emanated from his wrist. Before he could realize what had just happened, he was hit once again on his waist, making him involuntarily fall onto his side, knocking over the comrade next to him. Bumping into each other, the two of them ended up twisted into a lump. Okay, sorry, that's a funny imagery. There was no light inside the shabby temple. On a windy night like this, the moon was vaguely visible, occasionally covered by passing layers of clouds. No one was able to see clearly how Alice's leg fell down. Therefore, none of them stopped their rush. They were still throwing themselves at Shinchel. Yet within a few smacks, several more fell onto the ground, one after another. What kind of sorcery is this? Honestly, was unwilling to give up. He shouted as he recovered his balance and tried to jump on Shinchel. Shinchel's eyes were recovering rather slowly. During the night, when the light was dim, all he could see was a blurry block of shadow. In a moment of carelessness. He was shoved to the floor by Aldous leg. A punch immediately landed right on his chest, the pain of which caused a sharp intake of cold air. Pulling it off with only one blow, Aldous leg went straight to seize the bamboo bamboo stick in Shincha's hand. However, his waist suddenly went numb. The bamboo stick from the other person poked towards him. Though as simple as it seemed, he just couldn't grab it as he reached out his hand, and ended up getting poked firmly on his nose bridge. Crying out of pain, he covered his nose with both hands and fell to the side. The blood that flowed from his nose streamed out between his fingers. No one could have expected that this situation would take such a turn. Shinchao was striking here and there along with his stick. His moves seemed completely random, yet the beggars were unable to come close to him at all. Instead, they soon fell apart under Shinchao's offense, wailing all over the temple. Shinchao said coldly, "I'm showing mercy to all of you already, yet you are still not leaving? Are you waiting for me to stab your eyes so that you will be blind like me?" And honestly, this is not something that I expected Shinto to say. To actually stab someone in the eyes to make them blind. I, his voice was light as a feather, yet amidst the howling of the wind, it sounded particularly horrifying, as it was coming from a ghost. Honestly, and the others did not dare to stay any longer. They jumped on their feet and ran out immediately. This time they did not even dare leave any ferocious parting shouts. Wetting their, wetting their pants in terror, they disappeared in a flash. You should just you should just step their eyes and make them blind, Chingun complained resentfully. There's no need to be polite to those kind of people, to those kind of guys. Shinjiao was supporting himself with the bamboo stick and did not respond. One could vaguely see his shoulders moving up and down, as if he was panting lightly. Shingo had finally realized at this point that since Shinchao could even fight off all of those beggars, he himself would be nothing more than a piece of cake. Luckily, the others did not bother with him giving orders about this and that before. Otherwise, oh wait, it just stop mid sentence. A panic, a panic slightly seized. Hold on, let me start that sentence again. A panic slightly seized him after these thoughts, that even his tone became more courteous as he uttered, "Hey, Xinqiang, Mr. Shen, Senior Shen." Right after his words, the other person suddenly slid down along the pillar behind and collapsed to the ground. Ooh, okay. Mouth watering, yeah, that's straightforward. When, okay, yeah. So it's just a unit of currency. So let's see. Let me see how long the next chapter is, and then I will see if I can continue or end the stream. Let's see. Current Shinchou is not the whole Shinchou. Okay, it looks just as long. So okay, you know what? I know this is a pretty short stream today, but I think I will end at 2 chapters because my voice is really cracking right now. So I don't know if I can do if I can read one more chapter. So anyways, thank you so much for coming this morning and being here with me. So I'll go ahead and end the stream, and I will hopefully see everyone next time. I haven't figured out like a schedule yet, so I will post everything on Twitter, and whenever I'm about to stream, I will try to do it at least 2 or 3 days ahead, so that you can um plan ahead. But yeah, so I don't have a set schedule, but I but Friday nights and at least one weekend will be my goal. I don't know if I will be doing any additional streams during the weekdays, but I feel like my voice it does better on weekday nights than weekends, because I my voice tend to crack like early in the morning, because last Sunday it was like a similar thing. So yeah, I guess I will see how that goes with my schedule and everything. But then again, thank you so much for coming in, and I will see you guys next time. All right, goodbye and take care.